But if you want to get in on the running, you need to apply. The dates are March 12th, 19th, and 26th from 10 to 6 p.m. each day. And the location is at Mojo's on Southwest 17th Street. Do you have what it takes to shine and stand out in what you do? Well, there's only one first place winner for Ocala's Got Talent, and it could be you. Audition fee is just $25, and spectator fee is $5. This helps the Heart of Florida Youth Ranch. Questions, call 352-595-7100.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 24 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Nice looking Tuesday. I hope you're doing well. I've been thinking about L.A. lately, Robin. Thinking about L.A. We've got a possible opportunity to go out there in November, right?
Yeah.
So looking forward to that, and seeing. I haven't seen it in years, Robin. And the Hollywood area is always exciting to me. There's an annual award ceremony happening at the Wilshire Ebell Theater in L.A. on Sunday, April 10th. We will not be there for that, I don't think.
No.
But will Kevin Anderson be there?
On the radio.
Kevin Anderson will be there, I think.
I don't know.
Kevin is on the phone. He's been with us before. And in fact, last time he was here, I remember it was exciting because of the fact that your son is a huge fan.
Yes.
So this was a fun connection. Kevin Anderson is an award-winning New York Times best-selling author. He's the writer of numerous novels in the Star Wars, what do you call it, genre, or the Star Wars franchise? Do you call it that in books?
Yeah, universe.
X-Files, Universe, thank you. Dune, Clockwork Angels. He's the publisher of Wordfire Press. He's the editor of the 5x5 and Bloodlight series. He's one of the workshop leaders at the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future Workshop, and they've got a book. You might have heard us talking about it before, called Writers of the Future. Volume 32 is either coming out soon or just came out. Comes out in May.
May.
And many of you know we have spoken to a lot of the novelists and illustrators who have found their first publishing opportunity through this contest, which, by the way, costs nothing to enter. That's why I always like to recommend it. Kevin Anderson, good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, good morning. If you're going to list all my credits, that's the 20-minute interview right there.
I know. I'm sorry, but I want the people to be impressed. Where are you right now?
I'm sitting in my daily writing uniform, which is T-shirt and sweatpants, in my office in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado.
Oh, in Colorado. Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Beautiful sunny day, yes.
Okay. Last time we spoke, I don't know that I asked this, and if I did, it didn't sink in. How does this work? You write Star Wars novels. Do they become movies, or is this like a whole different world of Star Wars stories?
Oh, I've been working with Lucasfilm since like 1992, so for some of your listeners who aren't even that old. This was before the episode 1 came out. This was before there was any new Star Wars films or projects in the works. So myself and several other writers were asked by Lucasfilm to just to make up our own sequels to it. So my books take place after Return of the Jedi, and along with Dave Wolverton and Timothy Zahn and some other authors. And we did our own thing, and then those sold. I mean, they became massive New York Times best-selling novels, and the fan base picked up, and it was a huge success. There were 100 and some novels and comics and everything else, and I like to think it's partly because of the gigantic fan response was what gave them the impetus to finally do the prequels, episode 1, 2, and 3.
I bet you're right. But I wonder if, I guess I have a bunch of questions about this. I don't mean to stick on Star Wars, but just for a minute, if you don't mind. And I'm guessing every Star Wars fan knows this question, the answer to this question. Was the original movie, the one that came out in 1977, did that have a book first, or did it ever have a book?
Oh, it had a book. There was, it was written as a script in a project that George Lucas did, and then there was a book published either at the same time or just after the movie was released. That's called a movie novelization, where they took the script of the movie and then they turned it into a book.
Oh, okay.
I've done some of that work myself, so that wasn't an original novel. Somebody made a book out of the movie instead of the other way around. But the ones that I've done are my own sequels. That was Jedi Search and Darksaber and my wife and I did the Young Jedi Knight series, and we did, all in all, I did 54 projects for
Wow.
Star Wars and Lucasfilms, comics and pop-up books and all kinds of fun things. But it's a great job if you're a Star Wars fan. You know, you get to say, don't bother me, I'm working, when you're sitting there playing with your Boba Fett action figure and stuff.
So as you write for, whether it's Star Wars or Dune or X-Files or the other names that we might know, are you free to create new characters, or does everything have to happen with characters that have already been established?
Oh no, there's a whole supporting cast and crew. I mean, obviously it's supposed to be featuring the main characters, but you got to tell your story, and you tell. Oftentimes there will be special guest stars coming in or whatever.
Okay, but you can't kill off. You can't kill off Chewbacca, right?
Well, I didn't. Somebody else did. So that's in a different. Don't blame me for that. But everything has to be approved by.
But Jar Jar Binks, you could kill off him, right? No problem.
Well, let's not get into that. We don't speak of him.
That's funny. That's funny.
But these things are. I'll write up an outline and I'll say, here's what I'd like to do in my book, and then somebody at Lucasfilm reads it and either says, yes, we love it, or can you change this part, or whatever. So think of it as if I were writing an episode of a Star Trek TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it would have to fit in with whatever their vision for the show is, and it has to match some of the other things that they've got in the works. So it was kind of a big team effort. Now, when I'm doing the Dune books with Frank Herbert's son Brian, that really is just him and myself. The two of us have we meet together, we brainstorm it. We've read all of the Frank Herbert books. We've obviously known ours, and our very last one, at least for now, our very last Dune novel comes out in September, called Navigators of Dune, which is the grand finale of a trilogy that we've been working on. So that's kind of interesting after, I don't know, almost 20 years of working together.
And I know you've been on with us to talk about that as well. Yeah. It's a fascinating world. We had an author on just yesterday, and actually she was a screenplay writer. Mm-hmm. She wrote a movie called Boonville, I think. Boonville Redemption.
Yeah.
And then she made it into a book. So she did the movie first and then the book. And she said she was surprised that people were actually reading it, like us, like radio people. And is that true? I mean, are you surprised? Wow, you read it? Does that happen for you?
I'm surprised that other people are reading my books. I don't understand the question. What was?
Yeah, well, no, not other people, because I know readers read the books. But I mean, like when you talk to radio people like us.
Yeah, we don't think you guys can read. So we're
That's funny.
Yeah, it's like, I love the novel Dune. I saw the movie. That's the kind of.
Okay, that's what I figured.
But but everybody, to me, it's all entertainment, and my job is to entertain you, to tell a story, and if somebody wants to make a movie out of a story that I wrote, then they're just going to be entertained in a different medium. I mean, obviously, when you read one of my books, you're reading the actual words that I wrote. When you see a movie based on one of my books, you're seeing sort of the committee version of how 1,000 people want the movie to be made. So there's different things, but of course, like a Star Wars movie has a $250 million budget, whereas one of my novels doesn't.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. So let me ask you about you as a young writer, and because I always recommend the Writers and Illustrators of the Futures Award contest, because it seems to me to be it is legit. But some of the others don't, and I don't know. If you're charging money to enter a contest, I always think, well, it's a money-making idea for somebody. But you guys don't charge at all. So was there anything like this around when you were first starting that could have maybe helped you, I don't know, develop your writing skills?
Well, actually, yes, there was. It was the Writers of the Future contest, which has been around for, I think they're in 31st year.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Like that. And in fact, when I was a new writer, I submitted to it. In fact, I was a semi-finalist or a honorable mention and stuff a bunch of times. But I submitted 21 times to the contest before I was disqualified. So, and I was disqualified because I sold a novel to a major publisher. So then I wasn't a new writer anymore. That's the best way you can get disqualified.
Yeah, really.
But no, I really, really wanted to win the contest. I mean, there's really good prize money, but I wanted to win it because they have this fabulous workshop that's taught by big-name authors in the field, and you spend a week in Hollywood here. They teach you how to write a story and how to research a story and how to promote yourself. And I mean, that's just a killer workshop. That's what I really wanted out of it. And I just kept trying and didn't make it, but then I became successful enough that they asked me to be a judge and then to teach at the workshop. So it's sort of a twisted roundabout way.
That is cool, yeah.
I get to go to the workshop now, even if I have to work at it and teach there. So, but I've had a very fun career, and I've been a judge since I think 1996 or something like that. It's been a very long time, and it's a very gratifying experience, especially to watch a bunch of my writing students that come up through the contest who, when they're at the contest and they're at the workshop, they're total newbies. They've just like won an award for their first story.
That is awesome.
And I'm watching them become major successful authors. You know, the 2, 3, 4 book deals, New York Times bestsellers, some of them. So,
right.
So it's a good thing.
I have 2 metaphors I want to use here to try to sound clever. One of them is, the bitter pill that you take to get well again, and the other one is the pain you feel. Like, when you exercise, they say no pain, no gain.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a writer and you get rejected, but with that rejection comes a critique that really can serve you well if you embrace if you're a judge. So let's say a young writer sends something in and you kind of like it, but it doesn't quite cut it. It's not quite as good as it needs to be. So now you send back the material, or you send back a letter saying, I'm sorry, we didn't accept your stuff, but here's a couple of pointers. Those pointers coming from somebody like yourself could be the bitter pill, because nobody wants to hear that we're rejected, or the pain, from exercise that'll make you better. Do you see people rejecting the bitter pill, in other words, and therefore kind of forfeiting an opportunity to really be a better writer?
Well, you see some of those, but then you never see them again, because if you can't accept constructive criticism, or look, if you're getting into a writing career, you're going to be beaten down nonstop. I mean, you might get 10 rejections for one acceptance. I mean, I had 80 rejections before my very first short story was ever published anywhere. And, it's just like dating in high school. You got to ask 10 girls out before one of them says, oh, all right.
That's a better metaphor. Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
So, sure, I would like to walk up and date the head of the cheerleading squad the first time I ask, but that doesn't happen. I'm a nerdy kid. That would never happen. So you have to learn how to get better, but I guess a different metaphor I would like to do is what you're doing is trying out for the Olympic ice skating team. And you don't just say, I think I'd like to be an Olympic ice skater and put on ice skates and say, okay, where's my gold medal? You got to practice and get better and work at it and practice more and do small local tournaments, and then if you're good enough, then you get into maybe regional tournaments, and if you're good enough there, you might get into a national tournament, and if you get good enough there, you can try out for the Olympic team, and you still might not make it. And that's what it's all about. It's kind of arrogance to think I want to be a writer, so I just want to be published and become a bestseller or award winner. That it's work.
Yeah.
And people have to find a balance between the different characters that they create. You have to find the balance between the dialogue, and if you're going to use a lot of descriptions, and how they all marry together so it's not boring for the reader.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's telling a story. Nobody thinks, well, I'm just going to play in the Super Bowl because I like football, but somehow people think that, oh, I can write a few sentences, so I should have a best-selling novel. Well, it doesn't work that way. It is a lot of skill and craft, and you got to learn what you're doing, and that is what the Writers of the Future contest.
Two better metaphors. See, he came up with 2 better metaphors than I did.
Yeah. Well, you're just a radio guy, and I'm a best-selling author.
That's right.
I get paid
That's
for
right. Yeah, that's right. Kevin J. Anderson is on the phone. He's out in Colorado, but you will be out in April at the Hollywood thing. Are you doing
Absolutely.
that? Okay.
I'll be teaching part of the workshop, and I will be presenting somebody in an award, and I'm going to be sweating in my uncomfortable tux.
Let's take a little break, and we will continue this conversation on the other side of the break, which I hate taking breaks, but we have to. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For Tuesday, a mix of sun and clouds, the high 82 at the coast, 88 inland. Tuesday night will be partly cloudy early and areas of low clouds and fog late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Low Tuesday night 60 to 64. Later Wednesday, partly sunny, high 84 to 88. Thursday, warm with clouds and some sun, high 80 to 86. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will. Call AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 867-1965. That's 867-1965.
Hippity hoppity, Easter's on its way. No need to get your ears in a tangle just because your spine is in decay. Acupuncture can help degenerative disc and spinal disease, so call today so you can get back to hippity hoppiting right away. Call me, Dr. Erica Olstein with A Better You Healthcare to feel day at 352-615-5566. That's 352-615-5566. And visit us at abetteryouhealthcare.com.
All right, 8 minutes now before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. And there was another aspect of Kevin Anderson's bio that I noticed, and I heard you and Kevin talking during the break, and so we're going in the direction I was hoping to go, which is the rock group Rush. We have that in common, Kevin. I'm a Rush fan. Actually, I have a nephew who is a bigger Rush fan than I ever was. He loves Rush. And this is a testament to their music, if you don't mind me bragging about them. How old is Tommy?
He's about 15.
He's 15. 15. How long has Rush been around?
Well, they just stopped touring for now. Their last tour was the R40 tour, which means that they have been together and performing for more than 40 years.
Isn't that amazing? And to have a 15-year-old audience, that's something you would wish for if you were an old rocker. To say old rocker.
It is, yeah. So instead of like who listens to that old stuff, this is still hot and edgy music. And my first novel called Resurrection Inc., which was published in 1988. Was entirely inspired by a Rush album, because most of their music is kind of science fiction oriented and fantasy oriented and lots of grand concepts. It's not at all like "Ooh Baby Baby My Girlfriend Left Me" songs.
Yeah, right. Were you a Yes fan also? Just a curious question. Were you also
a little bit, but not as much.
Not as much. Okay.
I really got into Rush and Kansas and Styx and Alan Parsons, but Rush was the one that really did it for me. So my first book was inspired by one of their albums, and I put that in the acknowledgments of the book that I was thanking the band members and that the album inspired this novel. And I got a letter from Neil Peart, who's the drummer and who writes all of their lyrics, that he read the book and enjoyed it, and we've been corresponding for 27 years. And Rush's most recent album, called Clockwork Angels, is this big, epic concept album with a story behind it. It's a steampunk fantasy adventure with a watchmaker and an anarchist and airships and lost cities and pirates and things. And Neil and I worked together to write the novel of that album, like we were talking earlier.
Is that right? Wow.
Novels based on movies.
Wow.
So I wrote the novel of that album called Clockwork Angels, which came out, and it was a New York Times bestseller, and all the Rush fans went out. And Neil and I just wrote a sequel to it called Clockwork Lives, which came out last fall. And just because you can't have enough Rush, this, like in a month from now, 3 weeks or 4 weeks from now, I have another book coming out called 2113, which is a collection of stories inspired by Rush songs. I found so many other Rush fans out there, that other writers who were Rush fans, that they all chipped in, that they picked a song that they wanted to write a story about. And I edited it. I wrote one myself called 2113. And I've got this collection, and it's a beautiful, excellent collection of other stories. And any Rush fan knows that 2112 is one of their most famous albums, one of big science fiction story, and so I wrote this 2113, which is sort of a sequel to that album.
Cool. So,
and that's what it is.
So the book Clockwork Angels, that comes out in a month or so?
Oh, Clockwork Angels has been out for a couple of years.
Okay.
2113. 2113.
Oh, that's the one coming out.
Yeah.
On April 12th.
Okay.
And you can pre-order it now. So please rush out. Get that.
Yeah.
Rush out and pre-order it, because the more people who pre-order it, then the more copies get printed, then the more bookstores carry, and it's sort of this beautiful upward spiral. So,
do you remember when Geddy Lee did the vocal to the Great White North thing with the
yeah.
Mackenzie brothers?
Take off to
Yeah.
the Great White North. Yes.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Well, they're Canadian heroes, and it's great to know. And Neil is the only one that I really know. He's a terrific guy, and in fact, I've been building my friendship with him. We've got great conversations when we talk, because we've climbed mountains together and do all kinds of things. So I'm just really enjoying my relationship.
That is awesome. That is awesome. When I was much younger, I was I'm still into music, but I was writing music a lot. And I actually had, not to tell you my story and bore you, but I was in Toronto because I had a publisher interested in my music. And he was working with a group called Klaatu, and they also had these themed storylines that they had going on. Were you ever familiar with them?
I've heard of it. I'm aware of them, and I've heard one or two of their albums, but it's been a long time. And in fact, also right now, totally unrelated plug, another band with a Canadian lead singer is Dream Theater. And Dream Theater has a brand new album out called The Astonishing, which is a giant science fiction epic. And I said, I would have loved to do the novel for that one too. But you got to have music that's bigger than just catchy choruses and empty lyrics.
Kevin, what is your website?
It's Wordfire, like WORDFIRE, wordfire.com.
Okay.
And it's the embarrassing under construction, and we hope to get a
okay.
Here it's there, but you can follow me on Twitter as the word the and then my initials KJA, the KJA, or just
okay. I want to do this. I'm going to wordfire.com just to see what it shows, and it's taking a while. Maybe it's my computer. I don't know.
You are absolutely amazing, Kevin. You certainly run the gamut between all of the different series that you write, and plus to incorporate your love of music in the written word. That takes someone special with a lot of talent to do that.
You got to have fun.
Can you listen to music while you're writing, or does it distract you?
I listen while I'm editing. When I'm writing, I'm usually out hiking. I dictate my work instead of type it, because I'm a restless guy, and I live in Colorado. I climb mountains and live from Florida. You might not know what mountains are.
No, I have no clue. I don't know what that is.
You look at it.
I've heard about them.
Your elevation gate is a curb or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
I've heard about it. We actually have a city in not too far from here called Mount Dora. That's about the elevation I ever get to. I think it's 80 feet above sea level. I think something like that.
Well, I'm sitting right now in my house at 7,300 feet, and I climb up to 14,000-foot mountains. So I like going outside and being inspired by the beautiful scenery around here in Colorado, and I dictate while I'm walking. But then when I'm back in my office, sitting in front of the keyboard, I'm blasting loud music to get the energy level up.
All right, go to the stores and get the new book, 2113. It'll come out next.
Well, it'll come out on April 12th, but you can pre-order it now. So and you can easily spell it 2113.
And Star Wars and X-Files and all the others, and be sure to also check out the website writersofthefuture.com.
Yes, and I'll be there at the contest in L.A. on April, whatever it is, 7th. And 10th, okay, and I'll be out there on the 7th teaching, but the event is on the 10th.
All right.
We hope to see you there, and I'm sure you'll force me to be on your show again sometime.
That's great.
We will force you to. Kevin J. Anderson, what an honor it is, and we feel like we have a friendship with you. Thank you for allowing that to happen.
Sure, I'm sure we'll talk with you again soon.
We'll
Thank
be right
you.
back. This is WOCA Ocala.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Voting underway in key primaries today, like Ohio, where Governor John Kasich voted in Westerville.
We're going to win. I feel terrific. It's great.
He's locked in a race against Donald Trump in Ohio. Florida, another winner-take-all state for Republicans.
Florida will be very important for Marco Rubio's candidacy. The U.S. Senator from Florida's quest for the White House could have trouble continuing without a win in his home state. Election supervisors here say there will be record turnout considering Florida's early and absentee balloting set a record of 2 million votes cast.
Fox Radio's Evan Brown. Across all 5 states, there are 691 Democratic delegates at stake. And a Massachusetts man who stole more than $400 from Girl Scouts selling cookies, sentenced to 3 years probation and must pay restitution but avoiding prison. His attorney says the heroin addict has turned his life around. Fox News, we report, you decide.
This is not an offering to sell a franchise. Franchise offerings are made through the franchise disclosure document.
Are you one of the 70% of Americans who hate their jobs? Do you wish you could work for yourself but don't know what to do? Then we have a proven solution for you.